This week I learned this Robert McCammon guy, he's pretty good. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike coming at you with another weekly update as we are rolling on through the month of May. Some fun things going on this week. I mean, not only did, I read a lot of new things, but my oldest son turned 10, and that is a real, sobering moment of wow, I've kept a human alive for 10 years. I didn't think that was possible. So, hey, I may not be the best parent in the world, but I'm definitely not the worst because he's never gone hungry. So there's that. So guys, let's go ahead and talk about what I am reading this week. As I kind of joked about there at the beginning, Robert McCammon is pretty good. I finished Boy's Life, and kind of piggybacking off what I said last week's update is that I kind of feel blown away that he seems like he's the first author I've found that can kind of tap into that sense of magic that childhood brings that Stephen King has been able to do for years. He's able to write, a coming-of-age story through the eyes of a preteen boy and kind of just make you remember where you were in your life when that was kind of going on to you, and kind of the unexplained things of stuff that you found fascinating as a child that you kind of become jaded on as an adult later in life, and you just look at I don't even really think about that anymore. He's able to bring that out of you, and I feel like that's always something that King has done well, and I feel like this is the first author that has been recommended to me in the way of, hey, you like Stephen King, I think you might like this. This is the first time I feel like, yeah, it's a pretty good comparison in that he's able to capture this slice of life where a lot is going on, but you're still just completely fascinated with the story, and you really get that in this book with this character. And I'll say that kind of the epilogue of this book, it will get you in the feels a little bit. It really is great stuff, especially, if you had a close relationship with your parents kind of thing, kind of revisiting that older in life. It's a good story, guys. It really is. My only fear at this point is that, he won't ever be able to meet this kind of standards for me again going forward. I am going to read Swan Song next. Don't know when, but I'd like to do it sooner rather than later because I am very excited about this author. But if I like Swan Song even half as much as I like this book, guys, I'm going to read pretty much everything by the guy. So I'm very excited. I feel like I've discovered another author that's going to click very well for me, even though it's a small sample size here, just one. I mean, it's a big book, but small sample size is just one book in this guy's bibliography here. So I do have Swan Song, so I would want to do that. I'd be interested to see. This gets a lot of comparisons with The Body by Stephen King, and I can definitely see that. Even has the campfire telling the stories kind of scene. And obviously Swan Song gets compared a lot with The Stand. So that's some high measuring stick for me because The Stand is one of the greatest books ever written, I think. So it'll be very exciting to do that. But I'm not going to hold it up to that standard. Oh, it's not as good as The Stand. I think that's really unfair. So I'm not going to do that. But if I got a book that can be compared to The Stand, that's, wow, I can't wait, right? So, like I said, I'm not sure when that'll be happening, and that is a much bigger book than this one, but I am excited to continue with Mr. McCammon. So thank you to all of you who just continually just pound in my comment section saying you got to read Robert McCammon. So far, you are 1 for 1, and I thank thee, as I also will thank thee who recommended Bernard Cornwell to me, guys, because I finished the Warlord Chronicles trilogy with Excalibur this week, and guys, this story was just magnificent. The ending had a couple of things where I was kind of don't know how I feel about that, but again, going off of the Arthurian legend, I can see what he was going for there. I think if you haven't read the Arthurian legend at all, you'll be fine with this. Very much told as a historical retelling, different account of events from the Arthurian legend. But I really like that what he did here is just as a story on its own regard, regardless of how you compare it to the Arthurian legend, I think it's just fabulous. It's very grim, you guys. And, like I said, when I talked with Richard Nell on Talk About Nothing, he said, you want the most grimdark stuff? Just look at history. And this is a perfect example of that. No one in this story is safe, you guys, because that's how history works. The most gallant knight ever can be hit with a stray arrow in a battle. It's not everything. It's not like the movies, guys, and everyone has a big, great, epic goodbye scene. It can just happen just like that. It's over in a flash, and I think he really gets that across in this book. But it's not all grim. There are some great moments that will make you, fist pump and make you shout out loud about how excited you were when they happened, and it's earned. And every time I felt like, okay, this one started really quick, and then it kind of had like a little slow period before this battle. But the payoff is so good. It's so good, guys. So yeah, again, this is another one that I probably would have never read if not for you guys' recommendation and John Gwynn. John Gwynn was the first one who recommended it to me. So yeah, thank you guys for that. I would definitely continue with Mr. Cornwell. I'd love to get into Saxon stories, but it being a 13-book story or 13-book series has me being like, I don't know right now, but I think that could be just one of those things where I can kind of, just one or two here or there, because I do love me some Uhtred, son of Uhtred, so I definitely could see myself getting into that series. But that's what I kind of read this week. So great reading week. Had a great time with both of those books, and they were good, complimentary, because one is just so dark and grim, and the other one is just like I said, slice of life. What is greater than childhood? And so very, very good pairing to kind of keep my my morale a little high. Let's move along, guys, into what am I going to read. Now, I did start on the 19th, or actually the 18th, the Dark Tower 5. This is Wolves of the Kala. This is the first time I'm reading this since I was, I don't know how old I was, because I read the first 4 when I was 19, and this was the first one I had to wait for. And in my memory, I was disappointed because, you wait 6 years for a book, you have expectations. And what I wanted to happen in this book didn't necessarily happen because, again, expectations. I was a much younger reader than I am now, so I had all these hopes and dreams, and I had the thing of, hey, it didn't do what I wanted to do. Looking back on it now, I'm like, hey, this is a very Magnificent Seven. It's not the story that I love. So the way that he does it in this is good, and right away you get those big multiverse connections, and people will see right away why I said you need to read Salem's Lot before you get to this point. I'm not one of those who says you got to read a lot of stuff before you start the Dark Tower, but you need to read Salem's Lot, because it will make this book way more impactful. And good feedback so far. I'm only about, quarter into it, but I'm having a great time with it as always. I don't think that there's very much with the Dark Tower pre-book 6 that can really get me upset, but we will cross that bridge next month when we get to Song of Susanna. But always looking forward to continuing that path of the beam and talking with the new Quartet members that are reading this for the first time. It's a lot of fun on the Discord, just listening to the theories and the speculation and the mind-blowing stuff. And I'm just happy that most people seem to be loving it. It's one of those things when you really stump on a channel like this. You stump for people to read something that you love, and you're excited when they do it, but then you get scared. Oh God, what if they don't like it? So thankfully I haven't had that problem yet. Everyone seems to be really enjoying the ride, even if they do think it is just a bit out there. But don't think that I ever hid that it is really way out there with where he takes the direction of this series. So excited to talk a little bit more about it going forward. And then, guys, all I got left for the month of May is the next Cradle book. This is Soulsmith. It's kind of funny, is I didn't think that I was going to be able to get everything I had planned to read this month, but I really just had some books that really flowed really well. I love doing this trilogy thing that I'm doing. Just reading a trilogy in a month. I wasn't sure how fast this Bernard Cornwell books read. I think the Winter King started a kind of a slow pace. I won't say it was slow, because it does have to introduce a lot of characters. And then I just couldn't stop, guys. And I think I read Excalibur in 2 days. So yeah, it really went fast. And anytime you're reading a coming of age story, it's just a page turner for me. So yeah, I flew through stuff a little faster than I expected this month. And Dark Tower is always going to read fast for me, and this is pretty small. So I'll be surprised if I'm not able to finish Dark Tower in this by the end of the month here. So I'm excited that I was able to keep to my schedule. I didn't get to read very much World of Ice and Fire this week because I just couldn't put Boy's Life down. But if I got some time before I get to my June stuff, because in June 1st I'm supposed to be starting the Shattered Sea trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, which I'm excited about because that's the only Joe Abercrombie I've never read. I think I might, if I have extra time, I might try to fit another one of those Legends of the First Empire Michael J. Sullivan books in there. I think I'm on Age of Myth. That's the one I'm on. Because I had originally done that, and I bumped it because I decided to join this Dark Tower read-along, and I kind of bumped them to the end of June. So maybe I can get that one in this month and then do the next two at the end of June, because those Shattered Sea books are pretty short. It looks like the whole trilogy is shorter than Boy's Life is, so I don't think it'll take me very long to get through those. But exciting times, guys. I'm having a great time with this reading freedom, as I call it, not tying myself down to read-alongs and stuff like that, doing some things that I want to do. It's a blast. It's a blast being able to just kind of pick up things that I never expected to and being able to put some of these series in, 1 month instead of breaking them out over, a 6-7 month kind of reading schedule. So it's great. It's great. I really do recommend it. That's all I got going on there. Let's talk about this week on the channel. There were some things that I did. I've kind of joked that, people love hearing, about what I'm going to read as opposed to, what I have read. Well, the thing they like even more than that, guys, apparently is hearing things that I say I'm not going to finish reading. What I did with my video of 12 series that I won't finish was be basically, holding service for some series I've decided I'm not going back to it. It's either that I knew I wasn't going back to it, or was some things where I had to come to terms with the fact that I was probably never going to go back to it, and then something I was still undecided on. Could go either way. But people love apparently hearing that. And what I said about that is I don't DNF books very often. I really don't. You have to be really, really atrocious for me to just DNF the book. But I'll DNF a series. I think it's if the trajectory is like going down multiple books, you're enjoying them less and less. Yeah, walk away. And I have no problem walking away from some series. I've walked away from some series when I have one book left in it. So if it just feels like that, it's just... I'll never be able to read everything I want to read, guys. I'm not going to spend time reading stuff I don't want to read. So, while I don't DNF a book very often, I will DNF a series. And that was just kind of an update to an old video I did when I first started this channel of series that had kind of lost their way kind of thing. And kind of added on to that. I did kind of find it funny in the chat that there was one viewer who was telling me how much he disliked Dune and how much he didn't like Stephen King. But then when I said that I was maybe... on continuing with Witcher, he was flipping tables. So yeah, everyone has a thing like that. Like, I don't like hearing people tell me that they DNF First Law or they DNF Dark Tower, but hey, everybody's different, and if you aren't enjoying a series, there's no shame in putting it down. Don't read it just because other people love it, so that's there's no law here that says we have to finish reading stuff that we are not enjoying. So there we go, guys. Then I started continuing the series of talking about Mr. Tolkien with The Hobbit. Now, it's no secret. I talked about this when I talked about with Joanna recently that Tolkien stuff doesn't move the needle on BookTube as much as you would expect it to. As as Lord of the Rings is just like huge. And I think maybe just people just talked out. They're just talked out about talking about Tolkien. I don't know. Or it's people who just they aren't of that generation. I feel like this is the first generation that really haven't had something that draws them to Tolkien. My generation, it was, we had those Bashki films, which really, it got us excited about it. I mean, we read The Hobbit in junior high, so we were excited about that world. I don't think they do that anymore in schools. It's not on the banned book list or anything. I just don't think that that's not one of them that they enforce people to read in school anymore. And, I think this is the first generation that's kind of grown up without, Lord of the Rings movies. I feel like we're far enough removed from The Hobbit, far enough removed from the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, that maybe it's just like a generational thing, and they just aren't that much into Tolkien. But I'm never going to stop talking about Mr. Tolkien because he's the GOAT, guys. He's the best ever at doing this fantasy thing. So I will definitely be continuing with that series, just like I did with The Hobbit, a book that I think that is every bit as important to read in 2022 as it was, in 1937. I think it will open up your mind to lots of new things and let you see that not everything has to be blood and guts and misery and just depression. It's okay every once in a while to read a story that's going to just make you feel good. And I think that is a story that makes you feel good. It's very much a book about family, about growing close with people and considering them brothers. It really is a great, great story for all ages and genders. I think that everyone will enjoy it. Then I did my Talk About Nothing with Joanna. The thing about that was we had actually planned to talk about another 30 minutes longer, but AT&T just AT&T'd, and for whatever reason, my internet started screwing up there, and I didn't want to make people suffer through that. But we talked for an hour and a half, and I had a great time. I think that she is just awesome. She is such a positive person, and I love talking with positive people. But she also reminds me of myself in that she's not afraid to go against the grain, and if it's a very popular book, she'll let you know she didn't really like it if she didn't like it. And I love that. I love that honesty. That's something I've always said in this channel, that I was never going to BS anybody. So I admire that when I see that in other creators. And I just wanted to have her on for that reason. Because we'd only talked one other time before on her channel when we talked about Dune when it first came out. And I just really enjoyed talking to her. So I wanted to have her on the channel. And I think she's just a delightful person and a very, very cool person to talk to about nothing and other things. So that's why I had her on. So I hope you guys will check out her show. And I thank her so much for joining me because, I know these are work schedules and stuff. on the weeknights can be really, really tough, especially when we're trying to do something live. So I'm glad that she was able to work that out and join me. I had a great, great time talking to her. And I'm going to be talking with Mr. Michael K. Vaughn in my Talk About Nothing in June. And I can't wait to do that because that might be the only guy who likes, Conan and Edgar Rice Burroughs as much as me. So on the BookTube. So I'm very excited to talk with him very, very soon. And then not on my channel, but I did join Scott, the Bald Booktuber, on his channel to talk some spoilers about Dark Tower 3. Madison and Sheik joined us for that conversation. Or actually, I joined them. Let me put it this way. They're Palaver. They've done the first 2 books on that channel, with just the 3 of them, and he invited me on to talk this time. And I was very thankful that they let me crash because I love, guys, I love hearing other people's theories about Dark Tower as they roll through it, because it just reminds me of that time where I had to wait in between books, and I was just like, I had all this speculation and theories, and it's just kind of one of those things. It's like, it's crazy to think back on that you had your ideas and you were mad when they didn't come true, but now you laugh at other people when their theories didn't come true because they didn't have to wait as long. They're binge reading, but a fun conversation. Anytime I can talk to Scott, I do appreciate doing that. And that's pretty much all I did on the channel this week, guys. I do got some things for next week's plans, though. I'm going to kick things off by doing a review for Boy's Life. I want to review that one while it is still fresh in my mind, because I think I got a lot of things to say, and I think it'll be a fun review. I want to get back to doing, one review per week, and then, other things. And I think that will be the one that I do for next week, and that'll give me a little time for the Warlord Chronicles to marinate, and I can do that review the week after this one. So I think that will be kind of the plan there going forward. I will start working on that Berserk review, guys, because I did finish the Falcon of the Millennium Empire. That review is going to take a little bit of time, though, because I do, regular review, and then I do spoilers on that. So I have to, capture all of the pictures that I want to use and things like that. So that's going to take a little bit, but it is underway now, guys. So those of you who have been waiting patiently for that Berserk review, it will be happening here pretty soon. As far as if I'm going to continue with that series, we will talk about it in that review when I get there. I was thinking it might be time for a nice little top 10 video, and one that I've kind of been just kind of rolling around in my head for a while would be a top 10 characters. Now, what series am I going to do on here? Well, it's a series that I love talking about, but I haven't had anything new in a while. And I noticed in conversations I've had recently, like I just had with Joanna, is Dresden Files kept coming up a lot. And I think I'm just really missing that world. So I said, now's a great time to do my top 10 Dresden Files characters. Now, this is going to be easier said than done, because if you know Dresden Files, guys, if you're current, you know that there's a lot of characters to like there. So narrowing it down to 10 and ranking them will be very, very difficult. So that'll be something that I should have a lot of fun with, and I'll make that one spoiler free in case people, you know what, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I did spoiler free when I did that for Red Rising, and it actually hurt it a little bit. And I was like, why do people care about top 10 characters if they haven't read it? So I don't know. Drop in the comments. Let me know. Should I do spoilers on that? Because I think maybe I should. Because it'd be easier to talk about the things that they do over the course of the series that make it why I like those characters. I don't know. That's a good topic. Now, a weird topic, guys. This isn't quite an off the books, because it does have to appear. It does have to, a correlation with reading. But a question that I get a lot, and it seems like a really, really weird topic, is what I listen to while I'm reading. And I know that just seems so weird to some people, but I get asked this question enough in comments and live streams that I think it justifies making a video about what I listen to while I'm reading. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I like to listen to, some of my favorite soundtracks and things like that, maybe some ambient YouTube channels. So it'll be a short video just talking about why I really prefer to listen to what I listen to while I read, and how some of these things are kind of genre specific. And I have specific things that I go to for that genre. So I think it'll be a fun conversation to have. I don't know, other people might find it kind of weird, but yeah, that should be a fun one to kind of experiment with next week. And as for off of my channel, I do have a guest spot on Philip Chase's channel on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think. I don't know. I guess I should get that checked out. We're going to talk about Eaters of the Dead. It was kind of thing where we talked about doing Beowulf together, and we did Beowulf on my channel. And when we did that review, I talked about Eaters of the Dead and how it was kind of his homage to Beowulf, and I thought that would be a good place for Philip to start with Michael Crichton because he'd never read Michael Crichton before, and I thought it's not a very high commitment. It's a short book, and he read and reviewed it recently, so check that review out. And so we are going to have our little spoiler discussion about Eaters of the Dead over on his channel, and I think it should be a lot of fun because as an educator, I would love to hear how he feels about the way that Mr. Crichton presents that story, with the footnotes and things like that. It should be a lot of fun. I mean, anytime I get to talk to Philip, I'm going to learn something. We're all going to learn something. That's why we love and watch Philip. And obviously, he's just an awesome human being, and I can't wait to do it. I've also got a new segment that I'm going to debut. Not next week, because it's a week from tomorrow. It's going to be Saturday the 28th. New segment that I'm unveiling is going to be just a discussion panel. It's going to be basically like an expanded Talk About Nothing, but it's going to be with other guests. It's going to be 4 of us, including myself. Now, I'm going to be calling this Saturday Night Nights. It's just going to be a live discussion, and we're just going to kind of see where the conversation takes us. And my guests for this first show are going to be Philip. Obviously, you guys all know Philip at this point. It's going to be Sarah from Sarah Reads. And for the first time on my channel will be Alan from Library of Alexandria. So if you know anything about these 4 personalities, the conversation could literally go anywhere. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And like I said, we'll be doing that one live. So if you guys want to comment and stuff like that, we will actually, respond to some of that stuff. But who knows where that conversation is going to take us. It's a segment I kind of just want to keep doing once a month. Just kind of talk to other content creators as a group and see where things take us. So again, guys, I think this just kind of goes back to my podcasting days. I just love talking to other people. It's nice, I love talking to just you, but it's nice to have people that talk back once in a while. So I just basically, I would love to just see how that goes, if that's something that you guys are interested in, and if we continue to do that each month. And I'm excited about that panel that I got for the very first episode. Now, I do got some TV and movie talk things before I go, guys, and I know that recently I said I did not like The Witch, and I did not like The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers, so I probably wasn't going to watch The Northman. Well, I lied. I watched The Northman, and it was amazing. Here's what I'll say about it. I always felt like with The Witch and with The Lighthouse that Eggers was just a visionary director. Like his scenery, his cinematography, just basically the way he tells the story, it looks amazing. Damn pollen season. Anyway, his movies look incredible, and I thought the acting is top notch. It's just phenomenal. I think about like Willem Dafoe in Lighthouse, just completely just blowing me away because I mean he's already an awesome actor, but he's never had a problem with the acting or the directing or the way that his movies look. It's always been the story. The story has never really clicked with me. Well, he figured that out this time because the story was superb. Now, look, I will admit I am biased a little bit. I cannot get enough of like 9th century Scandinavia drama. I love it. I love me some Viking stuff. I can't get enough. But guys, this to me felt like I was watching Vikings with a new character, but with like a little bit of a fantasy book twist into it. Because you do even have like your fantasy quest for like a magical weapon kind of thing. And it's really good, guys. But here's the thing. It's just so visceral, so real. It is very much a character-driven movie. It has action when it needs it to. It's not overly artsy like I was afraid of it being. It has like one thing with like the heart tree, which is very much a big part of Vikings and Valhalla and things like that. That stuff is all here, but it's just so good. And I gotta say, Skarsgård, man, that guy never ever misses, back and legs and basically any workout day. The guy doesn't ever. I'm pretty sure he's never ate a donut either. So that guy is just in tip-top shape. But I felt like him and Anna Taylor-Joy, they had really good chemistry in this. But I mean, I liked overall everything about the movie. I thought it was shot incredibly well. I mean, just the cinematography will just amaze you. And I love how bright and colorful it was, because if you looked at all the marketing materials, you thought, okay, they've got to put that dark blue shade of gray, kind of make everything look drab and eerie and cold, because, I mean, let's be honest, it is kind of cold. But this movie is just very much lush greens and blues. It's very, very just beautiful to look at. I don't feel like it's overly long. It's just over 2 hours, but it has this build, guys, to this main seminal event at the end. And it's like to a point where you get to like, okay, you're working up to this last fight, and you're like, when it's ready to happen, you're ready. You are ready for this fight. So it's just a perfect slow build to that finale. So good, guys. And the action, when it's there, it doesn't ever feel like, okay, we got to have an action scene because the audience is getting bored. But when those action scenes happen, they are brilliant. So, guys, this is my movie of the year right now. It's even over the Batman. I thought this was just fantastic, phenomenal. So, yeah, maybe Eggers the third time was a charm for me. I don't know. I don't know if it's the genre that he kind of focused on, but I love that he very clearly did his homework, very clearly to try to make this as like historically accurate to the time period as he could. And I think it's just so well done, guys. I can't recommend it enough, but there isn't going to be for everyone. I'll say that it isn't going to be for everyone. If you are part of the MCU generation, as I call it, you got to have something exploding every 12 seconds. It's not for the short attention span kind of viewer. I do think it's going to make you think. It's going to make you wait for those moments. So it's really just kind of depend on you. To me, guys, I am so sick of movies that are 99% CGI that anytime I get a movie like this where it is just straight practical and it's about acting and it's about amazing scenery, I miss it. I miss it, and that is the more old man shakes fist at cloud as I get, the more I appreciate stuff like that. And Eggers is just awesome. It's just awesome work, and I think the Northman, highest of recommends, guys. Yes, check it out if you can. You can buy it streaming now on Amazon, at least in the States. That's what I did. We did on-demand streaming on Amazon, and that's how we watched it. And my wife and I, who both like Vikings, loved it a lot, made a lot of comparisons to that. So there we go, guys. I stand corrected on Mr. Eggers. I will definitely give him a chance again going forward. He's almost to the point now where I feel like he's got to be appointment viewing just to see, right? So there we go, guys. I can always change my opinion on something. Before I go real quick, I want to talk about these Top Gun Maverick reviews. They're otherworldly. They're outstanding. And here's the thing is, I know a lot of people are like, oh, God, why are they making a sequel to Top Gun? It's too late. I was like, I don't know. You take a look at Tom Cruise. Whenever Tom Cruise is in charge of a movie vehicle, he makes sure that it is something that is not going to tarnish anything. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, Tom Cruise is a weirdo. Name a more consistent actor, though. As an actor, he's one of the best. I mean, he's been doing this for 40 years, guys. 40 years. Risky Business came out in 83. He's been doing this nonstop, and the guy just is almost as consistent as ever. I mean, I'll be in line day one for Mission Impossible 7 and 8. You know, this guy just continues to defy the odds. So I've heard about this movie from people that I trust say that Cruise is awesome in it. It is better than the original, and that the stunts, it's Tom Cruise, are just incredible. So I can't wait to watch. It's been so long since I watched Top Gun. I'll probably need to watch it again, honestly. And at this point, all I can remember is the LOL volleyball scenes. You know, it's just been so long since I watched it. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I really am. Tom Cruise, he probably put in the time to actually fly one of these fighter jets, because that's just the kind of guy that he is. And got to respect what he does as an actor. Really, really do. But guys, again, I know I went kind of long here, but just exciting times in a weekly update to talk about, because I'm just having such a great reading time right now. But what about you? How's your reading time going right now? Why don't you drop in the comments, let me know what you're reading. Hey, what are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you playing? Drop down there and let me know, guys, and I will talk to you there, and have yourselves an awesome weekend.